Kaido's a dragon confirmed, right? Or is he? I have so many questions about this moment with Kaido because this could mean so much for not only the endgame, meaning the very end of the story, but also for Wano's endgame. I know a lot of people gave up on Kaido and even called him simple, shallow, and even stereotypical. He's the big, strong guy that wants to go out with a bang. He's Uvo from Hunter x Hunter, but just not as good. Mind you, this was upon introduction in One Piece chapter 795, Suicide. We literally knew Kaido was a Yonko and was strong, and immediately criticism. And the elitists came and showed their cheeks. We are more than likely past the halfway point of Wano, and they gotta toot it up to get smacked now because Kaido is shaping up to be a very layered antagonist. So do I need to go over all the shit we found out about him up until now? No? Yeah? I mean, I was going to do it anyway, so you might as well like and subscribe and stop playing. But I'm going to moonwalk with this one, though. If you're uncultured, that means to go backwards. So I'm going to start from what we learned in One Piece chapter 997 and use things that happened in the previous chapters to add to how interesting of an antagonist Kaido is turning out to be. Then we'll talk about his ancient race, his crew, etc., etc. It's funny because in One Piece, when you talk about antagonists, the same names get thrown around a lot. Wapol, Buggy, Foxy, the fighting Dugongs, and even Garp as the best antagonist in... Okay, for real. Nobody uses Garp, but the others, I swear to Kami, I've seen them before. Mingo, Crocodile, Akainu, and Blackbeard are always referenced. Full disclosure, I agree with them. But alright, you made it this far. Let's be serious now. Kaido has been good and very unpredictable. Comparing him to Big Mom as a character is about equal for me personally, because I enjoy anarchy in anime. And so a character who literally brings that every time she's on screen is lovely. The anarchy is either going to be in the story or in the comment section, because people do not like Big Mom. Kaido, though, he's loved. Kinda. Why? Because he does cool shit and wears leather pants like Katakuri. And no, that's not his dad. Oda debunked it. For now. Hopefully he doesn't come out and say Kaido is his special father in a volume or something. If you get it, you get it. So now Kaido in One Piece 997, the unthinkable happened. Kaido lifted the entirety of Onigashima and the plan is to move it to the flower capital and in the words of Kaido, begin a world of violence. A world of violence, quote unquote, is pretty straightforward as a goal and Kaido told us he wanted a great war and technically we already have a world of violence though. So I guess he meant a world of more violence, but either way, Kaido has the new Onigashima project, which he announced to everyone detailing what his plans were. I find it interesting that everything somehow spurred into motion after the world government announced the abolishment of the warlords. In Kaido's case, I would understand why the removal of the world's greatest swordsman would present an opening for him, and I apologize, I'm not straight up saying Mihawk can defeat Kaido, but he seems to have serious PTSD from these blade swingers. Either way, Kaido and Big Mom saw this as an opportunity to strike. They have no idea what the world government has to combat them, but they assume that it cannot be more threatening than the warlords, which is a very astute observation because, I mean, I would assume the same thing. What could they possibly have that could equate to losing the world's greatest swordsman, the pirate empress Boa Hancock, the self-proclaimed son of Whitebeard, and Buggy? It would be better to wait and see exactly what they have, but Kaido felt that this was his moment, and the time to seize the ancient weapons, along with Big Mom's help, was now. So this is really small and it's not talked about a lot, but we have no idea where Kaido and Big Mom received information about the ancient weapons and poneglyphs, etc. Where did they learn to collect them? Why collect them? What about the One Piece? How did they connect the two? Or the three? They each had poneglyphs, and almost instantly when you ask these questions, you think of Rocks and his influence, which is more than likely the case, but they each took their own route post-Rocks. Big Mom created her utopia, and Kaido built up his army. Before I talk about Kaido's army, I just gotta say, how things seem to be going right now, where most of the Yonko believe this is the opportune time to move on the Marines, they probably have something amazing up their sleeve. I mean, they could catch a couple Yonko slipping, or at least one, and the one I have in mind is Blackbeard, but hear me out. This is on brand for him. He's overconfident and so sure of himself, then he gets overwhelmed, and then he's saved by his subordinates. Granted, this Blackbeard post-time skip Oda may try to portray him in a different way, but time and time again, that was Blackbeard, the bumbling idiot that we knew. You can only change so much in 2 years. Granted, I know Blackbeard has gotten a lot stronger, but as we've seen in One Piece time and time again, if someone catches you in the wrong situation at the right time for them, then even if you're stronger, they could get the better of you. And Blackbeard is a prime candidate for that. You know, I almost said friends when I was about to describe Blackbeard's crewmates, but that's not how they're portrayed at all. I really don't get the vibe that they're friends. I think probably the initial crew with Van Augur and Burgess and those guys, Doc Q, but this new crew, I mean, they were thrown together based on what happened in Nippo Down. But about Blackbeard's ancient weapon chase, I do think he's successful at getting an ancient weapon as Kaido and Big Mom won't make it there. It makes sense for him to have one or at least two going against Luffy, who will have Shirahoshi or at least Momo, and we're not quite sure what's up with his abilities. as yet. People may say that's overkill. Blackbeard already has 2 devil fruits, he's about to have a 3rd. Blackbeard may fail, never get the ancient weapons, and then because he has 3 devil fruits, Luffy can actually go up against him because now he has maybe 2 out of the 3 ancient weapons, or all 3. Either way, I mean, come on, that shit is really hype. Back to Kaido though. I had moments where I trashed him and I called him a hypocrite and a phony. I did. Partly because of how much I liked Odin and wanting him to get a fierce shot against this creature, but partly because of how he handled the Hour of Legend. Kaido was so prideful and strong back then, but still he took the cheap victory, and the scar from this encounter cut deeper than his scales. Since then, Odin, or any mention or connection to him, has had an everlasting effect which essentially weakens Kaido. Kaido to me has overcome that in certain ways in which he attempts to make amends. We know he killed the old hag who distracted Odin. Some may say it's a bit too late, but I view it as noble considering that damage had been done. Kaido let the Scabbards attack him and would have been content with death due to their connection to Odin, but they were too weak. And as much as we try to downplay the importance of strength and power sometimes, One Piece constantly shows us that sometimes in the face of overwhelming power and strength, there's just not much you can do. And the Scabbards, they fought valiantly and are more than likely not dead. But what's next? Only time will tell, but we cannot continue if we do not discuss Kaido's possible lineage, the ancient dragon race. Now, people ask me from time to time, why do people think Zoro will kill Kaido? And I mentioned the Ryuma legend about slaying a dragon over the capital and fulfilling this prophecy seemingly carved out by Oda. Even past that, and for me, this is Kaido's perspective. Why Wano? Why did you choose of all places Wano to occupy and build your empire allying with Orochi? How did you know this stronghold would last the test of time and give you the leeway to breed an entire army? Remember, Kaido has been here for over 2 decades. Let's say Kaido's a dragon, or even half dragon. He would absolutely know of the ancient legend involving Ryuma. So is this personal for him? It's starting to seem that way. He wants to completely eradicate Wano and start anew. Of course, Kaido would know about him because he's one of the reasons, if not the reason, why Wano's legend soared. Ryuma single-handedly, according to the legend, kept every single person out who was trying to raid the country for its riches. Even when you view the panel of Kaido lifting Onigashima, you see the flame clouds wrapped around it, and Kaido is in his base form. There also seems to be something escaping his body. I mean, I think that's his ability to produce the flame clouds, and this could be via a devil fruit or just a natural ability like King and his flames. However though, something we've seen from Kaido is that in his dragon form, if he gets beaten up, he then goes out of his dragon form into his regular form that we know him as, Oni, human, whatever, which typically for devil fruit users like Luffy, he gets beaten out of gear 4th and reverts back to his regular self because of course gear 4th is enhancing his body. If you use the same logic somewhat, you would think Kaido is transforming into a dragon, and therefore even if you're beaten up, if you're a dragon, you're not transforming back to anything, right? Which then tells me that Kaido has an ability or something special to be able to turn into a dragon. But granted, that could just be his ability and not be a devil fruit as well. I don't want to just completely say it's 100% a devil fruit, but based on what we know about the series and the consistency throughout, yeah, we met Yukimaru and that's, you know, a fox that could transform, but I'm leaning towards Kaido having a devil fruit, right? Like 80% sure. That's where I am with it at this point. Used to be 95%. It'd be crazy to say right now that 100% Kaido definitely has a devil fruit. That would be ignoring a lot of context and things the story has been trying to show us. So for me right now, 70-80% Kaido has a dragon devil fruit. But to Kaido's crew a little bit, we know King is an ancient Zoan, yet he possesses a special ability of flame, and he is the last of his kind. Kaido could be in that same situation, and that was the reason why King has rose to the top to be his right hand. I know Kaido has a meritocracy. The powerful rise to the top and everyone else falls in line based on strength. But King is obviously different, and maybe Kaido chose him as his first mate due to similar circumstance. And again, I am basically jumping to conclusions because King could not be his first mate, could be someone else. But I mean, I'm just going to speculate that it's King. But when you think of Kaido's other top guys as well, you have to consider that Kaido has other factors when selecting the top brass. Or did Kaido just get everyone together and say, whoever comes out on top, you're my first crew member? We don't know that yet. But Jack is a fisherman with a Zoan fruit and a brash personality, very similar to Kaido. Queen is a scientist and a very innovative intellectual, while King is the last of an ancient species, but commands respect in so many ways. Kaido's crew is assembled to be powerful and to be innovative in the air, on land, and in the sea. It's almost as if he's breeding an army that can go against anybody in any situation. And obviously, that's part of the reason why they wanted Vegapunk. Specifically, I think Queen wanted Vegapunk because he knows about Vegapunk, and he's probably worked with him before. Queen is too good with his inventions not to know who Vegapunk is. But this reminds me of Blackbeard's crew, in which he has assembled a crew in which is great for espionage, or just infiltration. You have Shiryu with the invisible devil fruit. You have Katarina Devon, who can transform into anyone. You have Lafitte, who can fly, who invaded Marijoa and, no one batted an eye, but he invaded Marijoa without anyone knowing how he got there. I mean, he can fly, so I guess he just did that. So for Kaido, he has a bunch of people in place in which he can infiltrate anywhere. So for him saying he's going after the ancient weapon, I believe him because he has the tools to do it. But for Kaido, how long has he had this plan? Does him or his possible ancestors have anything to do with creating Sky Islands? Is that why he was up there? Does Onigashima have any connection to God Valley and his disappearance? Is this why Wano was chosen because Onigashima was actually called God Valley? Marco even commented about the name, insinuating that it was a different name in the past. What about Kaido's research into the continent pullers and the experiment to recreate numbers? Listen guys, I know there's a lot of questions, but we're getting the pieces to the puzzle. The only thing is, where do we start and what piece do we fill in first? But give me your thoughts, guys. How do you feel about it all? I think it's all amazing, great, interesting, riveting stuff to talk about. Kaido, I think, has been great so far, and he keeps rising up my list. I love him a lot right now. But give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BrogODAce. Follow me on Instagram at Brogdy.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. One Piece discussion tonight on Twitch, so follow my Twitch in the description box down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.